There's a reason why everyone remembers the Martin Luther King speech, and that reason is that everyone has a dream. So my dream, my poverty-free city, is a city fit for all its citizens. I've been privileged to visit many towns and cities in the global south and spend much time with residents living in informal settlements. These are the shacklands favoured by photographers and those predicting chaos and doom from the megacities of the 21st century. I've seen how hard it is for the people that live there, especially the women who have to struggle to take care of themselves and take care of their families. An estimated 1 in 7 of the world's population are living in informal settlements in towns and cities of the global south. That's living without tenure security, many fearful of eviction, either from the police or because they cannot afford to pay the rent of the one-room flat or shack in which they're living. They live without access to the basic services that we in Manchester take for granted. They have to travel long hours if they have work and have high costs if they want to access the parts of the city that have jobs and the kinds of services that higher income households enjoy. Moreover, they live knowing that the neighbourhoods in which their houses are located and where they have made their homes are looked down on by middle income and higher income city dwellers. They're treated with such contempt that they're fearful to give their true locations when they apply for jobs, because they know if they give an address for an informal settlement, they know that they're going to be viewed as potentially criminal and generally unreliable. That is not the city that I want. So what would my city free of poverty look like? I have 3 visions. I think that sounds to me, already 3 sounds to me a little bit greedy, but for me they're all really basic. First, everyone should have access to basic services and safe homes. This picks up on a theme that Nikki has already raised. Everyone should have a tap in their house or yard with running water, water good enough to drink without boiling, and water should run throughout the day, not just between 3 and 5 in the morning, as is too often the case, or a couple of times a week. No one expects this free of charge, but it does need to be affordable. People should not have to go to shallow wells, should not have to boil water to make it safe to drink, because often they can't afford fuel. They can't afford to boil it at all. Everyone needs a toilet that's clean to use and with the waste material safely taken care of. That might not always be waterborne sanitation, but in high density areas where the shacks are close together, it's likely to be needed. Otherwise, their latrines risk contaminating the groundwater. Houses do not need to be large or grand, but they do have to be safe. People should not have to go to sleep at night fearing the fires that race through the shack settlements, burning people and possessions. The risks of fire are very great when houses are built close together from materials such as wood and cardboard and bamboo panels. Too many residents of informal settlements carry the memories of friends and families that have died. And there has to be good drainage in neighbourhoods, especially if there's a risk of flooding. Such drainage means their houses will not be damaged in heavy rains, taking away their possessions and causing dangers, especially for young people and old people. My second vision is that we should live together, side by side, high-income and low-income areas. So the low-income areas do not live isolated and excluded, far from jobs, opportunities, parks, pavements, health and education services. And the wealthy can see that low-income people are people too, just the same as them. Children can play together, making up games in the street as children have done for generations, and they can learn together in neighbourhood schools that offer good quality educational provision. Living together also means that we have fun together. There should be public spaces open to all, like the seafront in Clifton in Karachi that had to be protected from developers that wanted it for exclusive hotels and high-rise, high-cost apartment blocks. We have a right, just as the citizens of Karachi have a right, to pleasant spaces for recreation and relaxation. The young couples strolling the promenade, the families with children playing on the beach, and the traders. The traders earning their living, selling snacks and other things that people want. Why is this important? Living side by side is important for many reasons. If we don't live side by side, low-income groups face vast additional difficulties in advancing their lives because they're so far from the centre of cities and the finance of cities. If we don't live side by side, the elites that run cities and run countries don't get it, as they sit in the apartments far above the realities of low-income areas and dictate policies that define and exasperate disadvantage. And the elites may gain a good life, but they pay a price for their exclusions. They're fearful of low-income households because they don't mix with them and because they have constructed them to be other. If we don't live side by side, we deny the simple reality that we live and we die on this planet together. And anything that lets one group imagine they can somehow extract themselves from the realities that others face is living in illusion. Most recently, we've seen that with the Ebola virus, and that's shown the need for basic services, both in terms of the conditions in which people are living, but also the desperate attempts by countries like ours to create a barrier that stops the spread of disease. My third vision is that, in my poverty-free city, is that we would stop talking about the poor, because we will treat each individual as a citizen worthy of respect, value, and with a true appreciation of everything that it means to be human. That actually sounds really silly to me when writing this, because of course my city would be poverty-free. But I think if we're not clear about the need to stop using that word, it'll slip back into the vocabulary. It actually surprises me that we're still using it, and using it with so few questions, because we know what it means when we say something is of poor quality. Terms such as poor work and poor performance have an immediate meaning. And this word is not an accurate representation of what I see around me from the people living in informal settlements. It's incredible to me that even without running water, within crowded spaces in which families live in one room, people get on with their lives with such care, attention to beauty and human creativity. Even in those conditions, mothers send their kids to school in bright white shirts, they have time to care for old people, they plant gardens with flowers in the smallest of spaces, they work together to manage disasters and to lobby the state to provide the most basic of services. They manage, on occasions, complex, intricate local negotiations, such as those required when settlements are replanned and the land on which people's houses are located has to be reorganised to allow water pipes and sewerage to be installed. It's important not to romanticise this. There are indeed many problems in informal settlements, but what is evident is these are extraordinary people. It's my privilege to work with these individuals and the groups they create. I've learned so much from the grassroots women and a few men involved in Shack Slum Dwellers International and the Asian Coalition for Housing Rights, two networks that I've been working with for years. They include millions of women saving their cents to create new development options for themselves and their families. These people are not poor in any meaningful sense of the word, but we carry on using it just because they have low incomes. And this is simply appalling to me, and I cannot believe it's not an international scandal. I cannot believe we have not sorted out this language by now. It's bad enough that we freely talk about people's homes as being slums when we know how pejorative the word is, but this to me is as bad, if not worse. So in my poverty-free city, we would treat everyone with respect. We would respect everyone, and they would all have the basic services they need for well-being, health, and human dignity. We would respect everyone, and we would share our homes, our streets, our neighbourhoods, and our cities. And our language would reflect this. Each person would be appreciated and welcome. Our towns and cities would not just be for me and for you, but would be for all. And we will begin to build poverty-free towns and cities fit for the 21st century.